let's talk about money. This video is not meant to show you how you could get rich overnight. This video will show you how you could create wealth on a permanent basis from this moment forward by simply using your own imagination in the right way. Because ultimately, wealth is always something that we need a certain amount of wealth. Maybe not a lot, but to live comfortably, we need a certain amount of wealth. So if that's lacking for you, or if you feel like you could use some more money, but you don't know how to get it, well, listen to this video very carefully because it will show you how you can create a bigger flow of wealth circulating through your life. So let's get into it. And welcome back to a new video. Today I wanted to talk about money because, let's be honest, it's a very important aspect in our lives. I mean, if we live in a Western world, even in Eastern worlds, money plays a very important role. And if we don't have the right understanding of money, we might be struggling with money as an adult all up to our graves, which is something that most people struggle with in general. Now, it is a subject that, of course, I myself have been very interested in money. I'm assuming you have the same. Maybe you don't have enough money right now to pay certain debts or certain bills, and you actually need more money in order to fix that. So how are you going to get more money? Well, again, I'll have to remind you, I'm not going to give you a way that will make you rich overnight. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme or anything. What I want to suggest is you start understanding your mind again from a different angle, this time concerning the subject of money. Now, in order to do that, we first have to lay a foundation. Ask yourself this: what is money? Think about it. What is money? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I mean, when I was raised up, I never heard my parents ask that question or tell me, explain to me, Renil, what is money? Well, after years of study and now as an adult, we can put it down very easily, and you probably already grasped this. Money is a medium of exchange. So what we're getting at here is to dissect money and put it back together. That's what I did. And if you do it for yourself, you start to understand how you can let money flow into your life. The first thing you want to realize is that wealth is in ideas. This means money is a medium you receive for the service you render. Now, what service are you rendering in your life? Most people have a day job and that has an hourly income which is fixed. It can go up if you get promoted within the company, but usually it's fixed for a certain amount of time, and as you get older it can get higher as well. But that's usually where we start and where we stop. If you ask a person, how do you get money? They would say, well, get a job. This is true. If you get a job, you can get money, obviously, but it's limited. So if you want to live a wealthy life, if you need more money to live the way you want to live, well, then you're really going to have to take this serious. And it's a beautiful concept, because once you realize how to do it for yourself, well, that's when you're good to go. And that's exactly what you're going to be learning through this video. So, like always, we'll put a picture on the screen. Now, you see all these red text and lines, everything, all sorts of stuff. Well, it's basically a visual representation again on how you can attract money into your life. First of all, as I said earlier, wealth is in ideas. The amount of money you can earn in your life depends on the ideas that you're working with inside your conscious mind. As the picture says in the middle, we have the conscious mind. Underneath it says in red, wealth is in ideas. Well, on top of that, above the conscious mind, you see red stars. On the right side of the conscious mind, you see ideas coming into your mind from the atmosphere surrounding you. So these stars represent ideas that you pick up from other people around you. In this case, through this video, I'm sharing some ideas with you that you can think about for yourself. But there's also another way to create and get ideas for yourself, which is, if we go to the left of the picture, through your mental faculties again. Through your imaginations, you can build ideas that can ultimately make you more wealthy. Now think about it, because most people get stuck in that pattern that they would like to be rich, for example, but they can't see how to become so if they would just have a normal day job. But what if you start building your own ideas through which you can create wealth? Now, what am I getting at? Well, these ideas can be forms of service that you yourself create, and you do it within your conscious mind using your imagination. You can look at what you love to do in your life and start imagining and analyzing and thinking about how you could turn that into a form of service to humanity. The more people you serve, the more money you can earn. And there's no limit. You don't work with an hourly set income there, because you are your own boss when you follow this road. So you're not stuck for a certain amount of hours a day at a certain place to earn a certain amount of income. No, you decide on what sort of service you want to offer humanity, and then you can charge a price for that. You see, this is why wealth is in ideas. Now, what do you love to do? Because this is ultimately the best way of earning money, is by doing what you love to do. But we operate with that silly idea that we can't earn a living doing what we love to do. Have you ever noticed yourself saying that? Have you ever thought that? Or have you ever heard other people around you say that? Because I remember when I was growing up, I thought it would be hard to earn money doing what I love to do. I also saw other people say that. Yet in this day and age, or at least I should say, now that I'm older, I know we can do this because I'm already working on it myself. Are you working on this yourself? Again, money doesn't just come to you through a job. Money can come to you through all sorts of ways. And you can build those ways yourself. This is what you want to remember. You want to start analyzing your own life and asking yourself again the question, what do you really love to do? Because by having that clear in your mind, you can automatically start thinking about how you can turn the things you love to do into a sort of service that you can offer humanity. And that is right there, that is when you create an idea to which wealth can flow. Now if we go to the bottom, the middle of the picture, the subconscious mind. Fall in love with your ideas. You know, that is the emotional connection again with the ideas that you're working with, that you either created yourself through your imagination or that you got through your senses, through other people who taught you something about how you could earn more money. Because there's people out there that teach people this, and they're not get rich quick schemes. I know they're out there, but again, what we're working with here is to make you a self-directed individual who can decide for him or herself what they want to earn from this moment forward. As I said in the red text on the right side, you'll be able to create your own forms of service with these ideas that you create in your mind. That is what attracts money into your life. Now that is very fascinating, isn't it? Because I wrote books, I made music, I make these YouTube videos. In fact, it is probably not going to take very long before I start my own coaching practice. Now they're all ideas through which money can flow to me. Now what sort of ideas are you working with? Again, really take this serious. Because once I first started considering, how do people become wealthy? How could I become wealthy? How could you become wealthy? Well, I started to realize after very careful observation of other people who are wealthy right now, that you can see a pattern. They all have multiple sources of income, you could say. They're all doing something on a big scale. Now, of course, you and me, when we start out, we might not be able to do stuff on a very large scale. This is why I have to remind you again, the ideas to this video are not meant to make you rich overnight. Perhaps you have such a great idea that you could become rich overnight, you never know. Who knows, your mind might inspire you with all sorts of ideas and bam, there's the money. You start offering that to humanity, you get very rich. That might be the case for you. For most of us, it takes a certain amount of time. But if we get this foundation right, inside our minds, that it's most important, first and foremost, to have good ideas that we can operate with and turn those ideas into forms of service, well then over a certain period of time, more and more money can flow into your life through those activities. And it becomes a spiral. It becomes like this circle that keeps going and growing, bigger and bigger, if you keep going with it. This is something you see with YouTube all the time as well. If you keep making content, sooner or later more people will find out about it. If you keep working on these ideas for yourself, sooner or later your life will improve. If you start exercising your mind, thinking of how you can provide a better form of service in your own unique way, well, the greater it will become, the more money you can earn. So again, ask yourself the question, what do you love to do? If you don't know the answer, start figuring it out. And once you know the answer, don't make the mistake any longer of thinking, oh, I could never make a living doing what I love to do. I want to kindly suggest that you stop doing that, because other people most likely are making a living with very similar things that you would love to do. And if others can, so can you. Now this goes back again to the idea that I briefly said. Writing books, making music, doing YouTube, building a coaching practice, perhaps one day seminars is something in my mind. These are all ideas that I keep in my mind. I keep them in the back of my mind so I don't forget about them, so one day when the time is right, I can always start working with those ideas in my life. And again, money could flow into my world more easily and on a larger scale. Again, it's the same for you. So if we go back to the picture again, I'll remind you again. If you want to become wealthier than ever before, you're going to have to start with better ideas that you have built through your imagination. This is really the trick. You're not stuck with a day job. You don't have to be stuck there. But we're raised in a society where we go to school, we get a good degree, and then we find employment somewhere, hopefully getting paid decently enough so we can live comfortably enough from the moment we're an adult to the moment we, pass on. But this is not how it has to be. It is one way of living. If you enjoy your job, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want more money, if you sincerely feel you want to be wealthier, well then, besides the job that you're having right now, in your free time, you want to start exercising your imagination, that powerful imagination that resides within your conscious mind, and start building your own ideas of what you would like to do. You can earn a living being a writer if that is what you want. You can at least earn money being a writer, maybe not a best-selling author. You could become one if that's what you want. Again, many people would love to write a book, but then immediately think, God, will never go anywhere. This is nonsense. Throw all these ideas out. Others are doing it, you can do the same. If that is what you want, you'll figure it out over time. But again, it's an idea. A book is an idea. You have a book locked up within yourself. Actually, every human being has. You have had life experiences. If you would write about it, it can actually help people. You might have to develop the skills of writing it in a proper and perhaps decent way. But again, it will be one idea that you could use right now in order to at least improve your finances, because you're offering something to humanity. You're giving them something to read, to think about, that might inspire them. You see, this is what you have to keep constantly in mind. If you want more wealth, it's about providing service. And you're going to have to do it from wherever you are right now. So don't think like you want to operate a $1 billion company when you only have a little bit of money in your bank account. Maybe one day you could have a $1 billion company again if that's what you want. Some people do. But you can start right where you are, wherever you are, and to simply start thinking about what sort of service could I offer from my current circumstances. Think about it. That's exactly what I'm doing for you right now. I could choose not to make these videos and not to help anyone or inspire anyone with new ideas, but that's not what I want to do. I want to at least make my life valuable and feel like I did something useful. And it's the same for you. You don't want to waste your life. You want to feel like you're doing something good with your life. Not just for yourself, but hopefully for humanity as well. Now the way to do that is by building ideas. It's through building ideas of what you could offer humanity in your own way. There's so many things you could be doing. There's so many things, I can't even name them all. I just gave you a few things that I'm doing. Now you start thinking along those lines for yourself. What do you really want to do with your life? And then start creating a form of service that you can offer humanity. This is how you create wealth. Many people say, imagine wealth. I would say it as well. But we don't want to stop there. You want to see wealth in your mind. But you want to have the awareness that the wealth ultimately flows into your life by what you're doing. Now sometimes you might win the lottery, or maybe you inherit a lot of money from a rich relative, perhaps. Well, don't just depend on those ways. Learn to also create. Life is about creation. And the beautiful thing is, there is no limit to what you can create. So you see, there's no limit to the amount of money you could earn if you simply start learning to work with your own mind and build your own forms of services and offer it to humanity. Now, money is such a fascinating thing. I once wrote it for a lecture a year ago or something, that, we go through life, we spend money on all sorts of stuff, but we never really take into consideration, as we're spending the money, we're making someone or a group of people rich. You're making a company richer by the things you spend your money upon. Now, you could start doing the same thing again. You could start setting up your own forms of service. I know I'm repeating this point because this is the basis behind wealth creation. But if you start doing that, then people start paying you. They're spending money on what you're offering. So then you become richer yourself. Why aren't we thinking like this? Maybe you've never considered it before. I know many people don't, strangely enough. But once I tell them these ideas, they're like, it doesn't make sense though. I mean, these are not like scientific, hard to grasp concepts that we're talking about concerning money. But this is exactly what I'm doing. This is what I see other wealthy people doing. Other multi-millionaires that I've talked to in my past are doing exactly what I'm just telling you that you should be doing yourself if you want to become wealthier. Don't wait for somebody to give you money. First, learn to give so that money can flow in return back to you. Money is a reward for service rendered. The greater the service you offer, the greater the reward. Money is a reward for service rendered. The greater the service you offer, the greater the reward. Now, this is something you have to let sink in for yourself, most likely. So what service are you offering again? Take a pen, write it out. What would you love to do? Even if the idea seems impossible, write it out anyway. Or type it on your computer or put it in your phone, whatever, so you can look at it. And then you sincerely and honestly ask yourself, okay, this is what I love to do. What sort of service could I create? Could I offer based on what I love doing? And once you get that clear, you have something to work with. You have something to work towards. Maybe you need a certain amount of money before you can execute the idea. Well, if you have a job right now, you can at least start saving up money so you can execute the idea somewhere down the road. Again, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, overnight getting rich, blah blah blah, all that jazz that some people put out there. This is about becoming a self-directed human being that knows that there's an infinite source of supply of money based on the fact that there's an infinite source of supply for ideas that your consciousness can connect to. And you have a consciousness. And you can connect to all sorts of ideas. You can create all sorts of ideas through the imagination. Start doing it. And you'll see all sorts of new ways open up to you through which wealth can flow into your world. You see, this is not very difficult now, is it? The only thing that we're getting at here is providing service. You decide on what the service is and you put a price on there. You can decide on that yourself as well. You see this happen all the time. You might see others do it, but we're not doing it ourselves. We're raised again in a society and we're trained to just work for somebody else. But wealth creation, becoming wealthy, becoming rich, however much money that is in your eyes. Some want to be a millionaire, some multi-millionaires, maybe a billionaire. It doesn't matter. But becoming rich like that means you'll have to become your own boss. And what does a boss do? A decent one? Well, they're self-directed. They work with their own created ideas. Start executing those ideas. Start offering better ideas to humanity, which then in turn automatically becomes a form of service that they're offering, and through that, wealth flows back into their lives. Because people, we're all paying others for stuff that we benefit from. Groceries, clothing, all sorts of stuff. It can go over a dozen, like hundreds of things that we all buy throughout our lives or on a monthly basis. But we never stand still and observe the fact that we're making somebody else rich simply because they're offering us something that we want. Now you can start offering things that other people want if you're smart. And then as you're doing it, then you've got the right idea about how wealth is created. First, you see what you want to do, the sort of service that you want to offer through your imagination. And then you start building in that direction on the physical plane. That's all there is to it. So let's put it all together. Wealth is in ideas. The ideas are created through your own imagination. You don't have to be stuck in a day job alone in order to make money. That is the first response we have to the idea, usually when we think about needing more money. We're like, okay, I gotta find a job, maybe multiple jobs. Work yourself, stress yourself out like crazy, work like crazy. No, don't do that. First, start building ideas in your imagination. And you want to mostly focus on what you love to do, because then it's the most enjoyable to actually earn the money. But once you build the ideas of what sort of service you would like to offer humanity, well then you have a pattern to work from, through which wealth can flow into your life. And it isn't hard work at all. It's all about offering something of value to other people around you. Once you get that right as a foundation, well then you'll see why wealth is not an impossibility, and you can pretty much earn all the money you want in the world. And you decide for yourself how much money it is. Whether it's millions, multi-millions, or billions, it really doesn't matter. It always is dependent upon the service that you offer, and that will create the wealth that you want, that you feel like you might need currently in your physical world. So keep this in mind and start thinking about the picture that I shared through this video, because it can really help you, and hopefully you'll apply it in your own world. And with that being said, never forget that we are the dreamers.